Hi, if you're watching this, it's because you're interested in what questions I might be answering tonight about the episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Also, you maybe are checking out my zit that's healing. So I directed tonight's episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If you're on the East Coast, you may have already watched it. If you're on the West Coast, you're going to watch it with me in an hour and a half. Super nervous about people watching this episode. I have felt nauseous all day, which is a cool vibe. That's my dog. So I gathered a bunch of questions that people wanted to know about tonight's episode, which, if you don't know, is sort of dealing with the issue, the subject matter of Me Too. Wow, my hair is just looking crazy. Also, you can see my grays. Wow, a chill vibe. So the first question is, how do you balance the severity of a topic like this while still maintaining the comedic nature of the show? I actually found that to be really easy, and that's mostly in part to the writing of the episode, which was written by Lang Fisher and the rest of the Brooklyn Nine-Nine writers, obviously. Lang has worked with a ton of amazing, incredible people. You can look her up on Instagram. Her Instagram is, I believe it's Louie Lang, Louie Lang. She's just a really good writer. She's a really, really good writer, so she makes it really easy. But also, I think there's something to be said for, like, the way that we talk about stuff on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's sort of like we dip into these subjects that feel kind of intense, but we always kind of, I don't know how you say it. Like, you know when, like, a tea kettle is going to get so hot that it starts boiling, and then eventually it's going to either explode or, like, the steam and whistle is going to start. And that's kind of what I think comedy does really well. Just in dramatic moments, you need that sort of release. What roadblocks did you face while directing this episode? I was very nervous. I didn't sleep very much. I've never directed anything before in my life. Never a play, never a short. So that was the biggest one. It was like a mental roadblock of, can you actually do this or not? What's your favorite moment between Diaz and Santiago? In this episode, I think it's, and for those of you that haven't seen the episode, I don't want to spoil anything, but Rosa and Amy have this very good, real discussion about coming forward as, like, people coming forward as survivors of sexual assault. And, you know, the repercussions that can have on their own lives, which is, I think you hear a lot in the media, like, oh, why didn't she say anything earlier? You know, like, why didn't she report him? We've heard that over and over and over. And the reality is that, like, sometimes that's way easier said than done. You know, there can be personal repercussions in someone's life. There can just be, like, nobody wants to be described as, like, oh, that girl that thing happened to, right? Like, you want to be seen as a real, full person. You don't want that to be your main descriptor. So there's a really cool scene in which the two women talk about that in tonight's episode. Was it easy or hard to direct your fellow castmates? Easy and hard. Andre is very intimidating. I've known him for a long time, but he makes me nervous as a director because you can never tell if he likes your note at first because he's always digesting the note. How does it work directing yourself? Was it difficult trying to get into those two roles simultaneously? Yes, it was awful. Directing yourself is a real mind fuck because so we have these things on TV sets. We have an area called Video Village, which is 3 monitors or 2 monitors depending on how many cameras you have, and all the monitors are sort of stacked in this one place so that your director of photography can look at what each camera is getting. And that's also where the script supervisor, the director, and some of the producers will sit. They'll sit behind those monitors so they can see what you're getting and, like, and what, you know, continued coverage you might need, or, oh, that joke landed funny, we can keep moving, or we can finish the scene. So that's called Video Village. There's also some little additional monitors that they will float in and out for you if you don't want to walk all the way over to Video Village, because Video Village moves depending where we are on the set. So, but if, for example, you're directing yourself in the scene, you don't have time to run back and forth. So like that scene that I was just talking about where Amy and Rosa have a discussion, they set up the monitors sort of right by Terry's desk in the precinct, and I would watch the scene up until my entrance, and then I would run in and do my part of the scene, and then I would run back out and watch the rest of the scene. So it's really challenging because you're having to switch back and forth. Your brain is having to switch back and forth really fast, and that is something that I would like a lot more practice with because I don't think I'm really good at it yet. Would you direct another episode? Yes, I would. I would love to direct another episode. Like I said, I think there's a lot for me to learn. Yeah, I would love to direct. And now that we are going to come back for a season 7, I would love to direct an episode in that season. So we'll see. What was your favorite part of the episode to direct? Without, spoiling anything for people that haven't seen the episode, there's a couple scenes with Melissa Fumero and Andy Samberg that are, I think, just brilliantly acted. And then there's a lot of really good stuff with Holt, Terry, and Charles. So Andre, Terry, and Joe are really, they are something special together, those three. They had me rolling. Okay, is directing something you wanted to do for a while? One of the reasons I really was interested in directing was that, our show does a really good job of sort of trying to source or seek out directors that are all types of people, straight, queer, men, women, lots of different colors of people. We've had Black directors, some Latinx directors, Indian. So the problem, or I guess the issue was for me, I noticed that it was heavily male dominated. And then when I just started doing some research, it turns out that, big surprise, it's a very male dominated field. And so I started feeling like, well, there was maybe an opportunity here to, I'm in this very privileged position where I'm on this TV show and I know these people that I work with and I know my showrunner, and maybe there was an opportunity to do something that felt really risky and scary, but at the same time would make it easier for the next person coming down the pike, now I'm hoping that, those of you that are watching this right now are thinking, if you're thinking about having a career in television or film, or even if you're just thinking about stuff that you want to try and do in your own life that feels kind of scary and you feel like you're not equipped or you're not educated enough or you don't have, meaning like you didn't go to some Ivy League school or whatever it is, not making fun of people that went to Ivy League schools. That's great. But I'm saying there's a lot of voices in your life that are telling you no, that you don't deserve something, that you're not worth it. And I am encouraging you to tell yourself that you are. Which cast member did you have the most fun directing? I think it's probably a tie between Andre and Melissa, but I will say the cast member that I had the most fun watching was probably Joe, because he is so wildly creative. It is bananas. He comes up with the craziest, funniest responses to things. I think it made it into the episode tonight, but one of his responses just had me laughing so hard. Okay, so maybe I'll do a couple more questions and then maybe a few from you guys. One of the questions here was, what was the hardest part of this episode? And I think the hardest part was trying to figure out what the balance was with the editors, because not only do you direct the episode, but then you go into the editing bay and they kind of cut together what they called their first pass at it, which is maybe the editor's version of what they think the episode should be. And then, thank you. I just got a delivery. Cheers. That's my husband, Brad. The editor will do their first pass, but then it's up to you to decide whether or not you think that was the right balance. And I'm telling you, I didn't sleep for 2 weeks because I kept rolling over that edit in my head and was like, well, this part's right, but this part, should I use this different take, or should I use this joke? And I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was like that saying, when you're talking about a kid, drawing, you have to at some point take the crayons away because they're just going to keep drawing until it's a big old mess. And that was the most difficult part, was knowing when to say stop, pull back on what you want to do. Get your fingers out of there, like stop touching it. Don't touch it. Kind of like what you would say when someone's picking at a zit. Okay, everyone knows social media plays a huge part in the entertainment industry. How do you think it helped B99 this season, guiding it toward an early renewal? Honestly, I think it's a huge part of it. The more that you guys talk about the show and talk to each other about the show and talk about it on social, the better it is for the shows that you love. And I'm not just saying for Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean, obviously, we would love for you to talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But I'm saying anything that you find that's important to you in life, I encourage you to talk about it on social media. But in specific, social media is a new world, and it's a new way for companies and studios and advertising executives to see what you guys are interested in. And they really want to know, because they don't want to invest their money in things that nobody cares about, right? So, like, the more that you talk about how much the show means to you, the better it is for it to stay on air. Like, so if you want more episodes of something, you have to watch it, and then you got to talk about it. And I think you guys already know that. So let me see. Congrats on season 7. Thanks. You did a great job on tonight's show. Thanks. I can't quite wrap my brain around the fact that that's going to be on TV and that, like, lots of people are going to watch it. I feel a little sick about it and kind of nauseous, honestly. But that's okay. It's okay to be afraid of things. Do you have any advice for aspiring filmmakers? I don't. Oh, Magnus! I'm going to scroll back. So Magnus Chan, you can follow him at MAGNUSCHHAN. He's guest starring tonight on the show. And I do want to say this. So Magnus is this really, 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 really funny actor, comedian. He's brilliant. I met him, like, I don't even know, I think like 10 years ago at this workshop that I was teaching with the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. And we did this big workshop, and all these college students were involved in it, and we kind of taught them about Shakespeare, and we did these scenes with them, and I remember Magnus from that time because he was so driven. He was on top of his shit. Like, he came prepared every day. Like, he was ready to work, and I never forgot him, and I've kept in touch with him ever since. And when I was given this opportunity to direct, I knew that I wanted to give other people opportunities as well, and Magnus was somebody that I immediately thought of for one of the guest stars, and he came in and auditioned, and he did an amazing job, and he booked it, and he's on the show tonight, and he is somebody that I encourage you to follow and watch, because I think he's just going to do great things. But also, I want to use that as an example for, like, you know, a lot of times in our lives, like, we'll think, well, this thing doesn't matter, and I'm just going to, like, show up and whatever, you know? But I encourage you to leave that in the dust, because you never know, like, how your drive and passion is going to affect what's happening to you, like, 10 years in the future. I never could have guessed at that time that I would be in a position to help Magnus get a job. Like, I never could have guessed that. And it's because he did such incredible work and was so driven and was so professional that I remembered him, and I just think he's the bee's knees, which is a way old people say something is really cool. So anyway, I also just encourage you, as young people / artists / whatever it is you're doing, like, show up and give it your all, because, like, you just don't know who's watching you, and you never know, like, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, somebody could call you and be like, you know what, I thought you were amazing that one day that we worked on that thing together, and I want you to come and join my team. By the time they show you the what? Somebody's being weird. Someone else is saying something really weird too. Okay, you guys are real funny. Let's see. I'm trying to scroll through these and find another question to sort of wrap it up with. Oh, are you excited for season 7? Congrats on the renewal. Hey, thanks. I am excited for season 7. I'm really excited to see where these characters' lives lead them. I'm particularly excited for Rose's love life. Wow, my hair is doing some crazy flyaway things. And I'm super psyched for them to... This squad is so funny. They're so funny. And I feel like we as a team get funnier when we're allowed to work together for longer. And, oh, someone from Korea. Hi. So yeah, I'm just like really psyched for season 7. I can't wait. I can't wait for you guys to see it. So what have we learned today from this live feed? Everyone on Brooklyn Nine-Nine really loves their jobs. I feel absolutely thrilled that Dan Gore and NBC gave me this incredible opportunity. I feel really, really proud. And like when I try to sort of take a bird's eye view of where we are, you know, as human beings and in the arts, like, yes, it may still feel really like an uneven playing ground, you know? It may still feel like so many of us want and have things to say, and there's so few of us that are like kind of, you know, to use an example of something, like there was that hashtag that was trending a couple years ago. My dog's going nuts. Oscar's so white. And I'm sure a lot of you remember that. And like, I think the thing that affected a lot of people was like this moment of realization of like, oh, maybe the world is like, maybe it's not quite an even playing field like I might have assumed it was. And maybe there's room for more voices at the table. And I'm really proud to be a voice at that table. And also, like, girl, dye your grays, honey. They coming in strong. Okay. Thanks, you guys. I hope you liked the episode. I can't wait for you to watch it. My friends are arriving now because they're going to watch the episode with me, actually. Let's see who's here. Who's here? Oh, it's my sister. Hey-o. It's my sister. On the internet. We're on the internet. Anyway, thanks for spending a little time with me and my healing zit. Okay. Bye. Bye.